Right behind my rhubarb, I've got 2 gooseberry bushes that I planted 2 years ago, back in 2021. And this one here is a green one. I got it from Aldi. I'll just show you what it's called. It is the green gooseberry Hinunmaki. The first year I planted it, nothing much happened. It didn't grow very much. And so the following year, last year, it didn't flower because they only flower and fruit on 2-year-old wood. And as it hadn't grown much, there were no flowers. This year, if we look really closely, there are so many little red flower buds all along the stems of this green gooseberry. They're such beautiful plants. They are very prickly. You can see some of the thorns, super duper sharp, like needles. So it's always about wearing gloves when you come out to collect the fruits, but the fruits are just so delicious. And over here next to it is the red one, and this is the red gooseberry, Hinunmaki as well. They're supposed to be really good, resilient, resistant fruits, like resistant to powdery mildew. I've never had any powdery mildew on these ones, and that can be an issue, so really good ones to get. And as I said, I got them in Aldi. So here is the one, if you can read it, it says red gooseberry Hinunmaki, so they're both the same kind. And if we look at this one, I just saw some flowers coming. They're really cute, delicate little flowers that come and then turn into wonderful berries. Let me see, I'm sure I saw some. No, it appears there are no flowers, no flower buds on the red one. There should be later. What happens is the leaves, of course, come first, as you can see has happened with the green one, and then the flower buds start appearing. So I think the red one, for some reason, is just a little bit behind the green one this year. So I'm sure we'll see some flower buds soon. They're such great croppers. We really had the most amazing bumper crop. And I like eating them even before they're completely ripe. When they're really squishy, they're ripe and they're super sweet and delicious. If you pick them just before they get to that squishy stage, they're a little bit more sharp, and I quite like them like that too. But I like them also as squishy fruits. So they're just so delicious. I think I've seen them be compared to grapes, which is not far off. They have that sort of grape-like quality and the same size as a grape and shape and everything, but they have a flavor all of their own, and they're just really definitely something that's amazing to have in the garden, I think. Just really enjoy having them. So looking forward to that. Some of the first flowers, some of the first fruit flowers we're seeing blooming here, but to be honest, everything is in bloom. Let me take you around and show you a few more things. I just noticed this little raspberry. This is a red raspberry, and there's lots of little flower buds on it there. This is the one that is actually fruiting on last year's wood now, and then it'll be done and there'll be some new stalks coming up from the ground. Some new canes, I think they're called raspberry canes. This is something I'm so excited about. This is a beautiful dwarf Victoria plum, and I planted it a while ago and we haven't had much luck. So the first year we had 1 plum. Second year we were going to have 2, but then that branch snapped completely off. I think it got hit by a ball, and so we had no plums. And then this year I'm hoping to have a whole bunch of plums because the branches are just covered in wonderful, beautiful white flower buds. We're going to have a bit of cold weather today, so well, tonight really, so I'm thinking about covering these guys up because they really can get damaged by frost. But I don't know, it's gonna be like a few hours where it might get down to 0 degrees Celsius. So I probably will throw a blanket over these guys and do my best to keep them going, because there's gonna be so many of them. They're really beautiful, sort of reddish, yellowish, sweet plums. So it'll be so fun to have them actually give us a good crop this year. This is another member of the Rebus family, just like the gooseberry. This is a pink currant. They are the sweetest little things. They look a bit like miniature grapes. They grow like that, you can see. And they're so delicious and so sweet. And so they're already starting to flower. Those are the little flower buds, and then they'll of course develop into beautiful fruit. There's another member of the Rebus family. This is a giant black currant. It's called Big Ben because they're really bigger than usual black currants, and it's also getting some flower buds there. And this is another member of the Rebus family. It is a white currant, and again their fruits are just like little grapes. Super sweet, just delicious, and so delightful. I just think the flowers are cute and dainty too. It's a really lovely one, and this one is actually getting quite a few. They're all over the place, so we'll get lots of nice fruits from it. It's in a really sunny spot, which is good. They do love sun, these guys. And there's one next to it which is in a bit more of a shaded spot. It was like next to some daffodils, and it hasn't actually budded up yet, so it really depends on whether or not the sun hits it. It makes a huge difference in growing time. And I've shown this before. This is my Asian pear tree that I just planted a few months ago now, and within weeks of planting it, it just burst into bloom. And I was a little bit worried because it was supposed to have a pollination partner. So I have 2 European pear trees which work as amazing pollination partners for this particular pear tree, but they are just about to come into bloom now, so they might miss each other. And also it's the first year it's here, so I'm not really counting on any fruits, but I'm enjoying the flowers. I think they're beautiful, and we'll just see what happens. The pear blossoms so gorgeous. This is the European pear tree I was talking about. It's a duo pear tree. So on the right side we have conference pears coming out, and I know that because we've had a few from it. We have never had any from the other side, which is also completely budded up here. Look at that. I'm so excited. I can't tell you how excited I am. This is amazing. And I think the other side are Concord, but I originally thought they'd be like a reddish pear, so I'm just going to have to wait and see what comes. It's been a little while since I've bought this one. It's been in the ground for ages, and I haven't had any luck with getting fruit from it. I only had fruit the year before last. We had 4 conference pears, and that was it. So seeing it like this is just amazing. It's just full of flower buds. Just fantastic. And there's some that are really just about to come out now. Look there. Beautiful things. In the corner we have Saskatoons, Amelanchier alnifolia, and they are also totally budding up. They produce these really beautiful blueberries, and I am so excited about this because I loved them last year and we really didn't get very many, but there's so many flower buds on them now, on every single branch, even the really low ones. And these guys are super frost hardy, so it really doesn't matter that they're coming out this early. And the best thing is that it just takes 6 weeks from them blooming before the fruit is actually completely ripe. So they're really, really quick turnaround. They're some of the first berries you get to eat. They're also known as June berries because they're ripe in June too. So yay! So that's the first one. This is a really small cultivar. It's called Prince William. It's a dwarf. And then over here we have another one. This is called Sleet. It's completely covered in blooms too, and they look identical to the William one. There's so many flower buds too. And then finally the third one is over here. And I have them quite close to each other because then they can cross-pollinate. That always gives for better crops. But this guy here, he's called Smokey. He doesn't actually need a cross-pollination partner, but Prince William does. So they're just all together and they can just help each other out. But look how beautiful. And you know, they're the same family as apples, and you can just see they look just like apple blossom pretty much. But just really beautiful. And the blueberries, my potted blueberries, are all completely ready to start bursting into bloom. So many flowers, which will just mean so many wonderful berries. I'm so excited about this. Really do well grown in containers. There are even lovely flower buds on my pink lemonade blueberries. And here's my little pot of lingonberries. Looks ready to start bursting into bloom any minute now too. I always think the flowers are so similar to the blueberry ones. They're very closely related. Not just the fruit trees that are starting to flower, this is also an ornamental, which is a real bee magnet, and it's a Californian lilac, and it's really going to start blooming any minute now. All the flower buds are really fattening up, looking good. So there's so much happening. It's just such a happy time, and I'm crossing my fingers that the frost will stay away so we can just have a wonderful harvest this year.